be black friend in the darkness. That's okay. Cool, whatever.
You chose that, so you have to be
Cool, whatever. Whatever.
Hey, I need a stand, guys.
Gory, I need a stand, I need a ring light.
You getting?
I'm a model / DJ. Okay.
Someone like you.
Good God, I'm working with amateurs. Get your shit together.
We're rolling on the camera, and we're rolling.
Keep rolling.
They see me roll. My leg is really reflecting very strongly back at me from that screen, and I just think, wow, maybe I need a holiday.
It is saying that your legs are overexposed.
Yeah, well, you know, that's
I'm
COVID.
Morg White.
3 years without a holiday.
I thought we'd have a little nice chat first about the refugees, and then maybe we could talk about the Johnny Depp thing after.
And this
But we need to do a sort of intro. My name is Georgie / Mooncat, and this is my soft opening.
Yeah, we could do slashes.
Hi, my name's Naomi, and this is my soft opening.
It's not soft, I've seen it.
Oh,
But have you felt it?
Hi, everybody. This is my good friend Georgie, aka Mooncat. This is my good friend Naomi, aka Ballsack. I'm Charlie, and it's called Our Soft Opening.
I like how he said it's soft as well.
Soft
Soft.
opening.
This is our ASMR podcast.
I
Soft.
have a soft opening.
I really wish we'd got it on film,
I
but
know.
Charlie just did the biggest shriek ever because a fake wasp landed on her arm.
It wasn't a fake wasp. Stop trying to spin it. It was a real wasp.
It wasn't even a real one. It was one of those
was
cosplay wasps. Charlie here has been an absolute angel and taken on some refugees from Ukraine.
I have, yeah.
And I don't know, I thought we could just sort of chat about it. See, well, they've only just arrived, haven't they?
They arrived, yeah. They arrived last Sunday.
Yeah, so, but you know, first impressions and all that of them, they seem to be pretty cool people, don't they?
Yeah, they're amazing. So I've got a mum and a daughter. The mum is my age, and the daughter is 9. I feel like the daughter is like a kindred spirit. She's just very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So far, so good. I think it's been a very, very positive experience.
Good.
So yeah, I don't know. Anything you want to know about it?
Has the daughter met Violet?
Yeah. My daughter Violet. So
Yeah, I love so.
yeah, Violet now exclusively speaks in a Ukrainian accent,
Really?
which provides me with constant amusement. Yeah. Little 1, 2, 3. But the other thing she does, which I find very funny, is that she forgets that Lara is not English, so just relentlessly tries to talk to her in English, and then it's like, Lara's not replying to me. Yes, Violet, because you're just talking gobbledygook to
Doesn't
her.
know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, really good.
But like today, when you spoke to Violet, and she's at her dad's house, and she wanted to come home, didn't she? Because she didn't want to miss.
Yeah, she just wanted. She
Yeah.
wanted to see Lara. She was furious that she had to leave, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't give a shit about me,
Obviously.
the woman who birthed her.
Yeah. But
My friend who I work with, who is also a child lawyer, she's done the same. She told me about it, and she's Polish by origin, and she has a Polish friend who's doing all the arranging, because I think a lot of people are struggling with actually doing the formal process of applying for homes for Ukraine. Apparently they just don't fucking get anywhere.
what's Homes for Ukraine? The government scheme.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I've never actually... See, I don't know, so I never was acquainted with it. I never tried. The first I knew about it was my friend telling me that she was doing it, and I said, oh, can I do it? And she said, yeah. And then basically our mutual friend just matched the mother and the daughter with me. And, yeah. So then my friend...
How did the person match them with you? How does that work?
Just I guess. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how she got speaking to my... the refugees that are with me now, but I basically said I would be looking for a mum and a daughter.
Yeah.
Probably one child, because I've only got one room, and yeah, it's a big room, but like you couldn't have loads of children in there. It would just get and also because me and Violet, mum and daughter, I just thought that would be a nice setup.
Yeah, definitely.
And then they said, could you take a mum and a 9-year-old? And I said, well, yeah. So yeah, just moved like all the furniture around, got myself up into the attic bedroom so that they could have the front bedroom with the ensuite, and yeah. It's pretty great.
Yeah, they
And
are great.
they're funny.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Naomi came to my house last night.
Yeah, and
And-
she cooked.
Yeah,
Especially
so
for my
my new
arrival.
Ukrainian wife had provided you with a banquet, hadn't she?
It's more than Charlie's ever given me
It's
in
more
10
than-
years of friendship.
Yeah, well,
So,
you know.
very appreciative of that. Yeah, we had
Yeah.
Ukrainian food, didn't we?
Yeah, we had Ukrainian food. It was
Yeah,
very
it's
nice,
delicious.
and we were laughing at the fact that she was laughing, saying that I basically work all day and then work at night as well. So I'm basically now her husband, and
Yeah.
she is my Ukrainian wife.
Who feeds
And
you, which works very well for you.
Yeah, it works very well for me.
Great setup.
I wish I'd had a Ukrainian wife all my life.
Yeah. I mean, the time has come.
I
so-
recommend that we all
Happy for you.
do that. To be honest,
Yeah, she's really lovely.
she's absolutely lovely, and I did think like culturally, are we going to be very different? I mean, like language wise, we are very different. It's not a language that's got many similarities, as far as I can tell. I'm no expert, but the humour,
So can she speak like bits of English then?
yeah.
She can speak more English than we can Ukrainian.
Well,
For sure.
well,
because
Like
I
everybody
can.
can. Everybody European can.
Ukrainian is zero.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't even know
exactly.
hello.
Yeah.
Um,
You need to learn some words from her.
yes, well, I've been busy. I don't know if you know.
Oh, I'm actually very busy.
I'm very busy.
Got to start off with the swear words first, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. But the main thing is that they learn English because they need it to be able now to survive and to like set up properly and get going.
But they're having English lessons, aren't they? They're going to start.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've tried to set up, that Mum will be going to college because they're providing, I think, free English lessons. So
Which
we're
is
going to
great.
look into that, yeah. But yeah, the little girl is hilarious, and we make up songs because it's a struggle for her to learn English, and that is the one thing she's very worried about. She's very worried about going to school and feeling like an outcast and just feeling like people think she's stupid because she doesn't speak the language. Because I took her to a gymnastics lesson with my daughter, and she did great. She did really good. She was like this little nimble thing, but she cried at the end of it because she was just so upset that well, I suppose you're trying to learn something and somebody's trying to direct you in a language that you don't understand. It must be really, really
But
hard.
you can actually tell that she's smart as well.
Oh yeah, and
Like
she's
like
funny.
witty.
Yeah.
And you said something that I thought was really lovely when you were saying even though you can't communicate, like the humour transcends that. And you were
Yeah.
saying that it's showing you how
Yeah, because
humour does transcend.
I think a lot of
language.
humour, especially like the humour I like, is very like dependent on. Like, I love doing accents and silly voices, and obviously they wouldn't pick up on a different accent. And I love like clever wordplay, and obviously none of that will translate.
No.
And yet that is something that has been really positive. We still manage to we still laugh all the time, and I
Yeah.
genuinely find them funny. I'm not
Yeah.
doing it to humour them.
Yeah.
So like Lara, who's 9, when so just as an example, when she came in the other day, she comes to find me and she would just say silly things. So she came to the bottom of the stairs when I was up in the attic room and went, Charlotta!
That's what they call her. Charlotta.
Yeah. Charlotta, do you speak English? And I said, yes. And then I was like, Lara, do you speak English? And she said, no. Goodbye. She's funny.
That's so cute. I love it.
She's 9 and she's
Yeah,
hilarious.
she is.
Yeah, and Violet's obsessed with her.
And they're funny without trying as well. What was it you were saying to the mum the other day when you're like, I tried this name, that name?
Yeah. Well, because the mum's name is it's spelt like in English, Yehevenia. But I'd also heard people refer to her as Eugenia. And since she's been here, I have tried a whole raft of different ones. So I've been going.
None of them her actual name.
None of them her actual name. I've just been like, Yevgenia, Eugenia, like loads of different pronunciations. And when I actually finally said to her the other day, so it's Eugenia, and she was like, yes, Eugenia, and I was like, oh,
Because I've been trying.
I was like, I've
Eugenia.
tried Eugenia, and she just looked at me and was like, I know.
Yeah.
And I've answered to all of it.
Yeah. I know. She's really funny. And she was saying to the other day, when I came yesterday, we and she made dinner for us.
Yeah.
And Charlie was at the table saying, "Oh, I get on so well with Lera. We're kindred spirits." Bearing in mind that she's 9.
Yeah.
And
found someone on my level. Yeah.
Yeah. And Eugenia was like, "Yes, Charlie is like little tiny baby."
Yeah. Yeah, she did. Yeah. Yeah. She was,
Straight face.
yeah. She was like,
Charlotte
Loretta
is a
Lera,
little
Charlotte,
tiny baby.
babies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're really
And she's
funny.
not impressed by English men, is she?
Oh, no.
No.
No. I don't think she's met any impressive ones.
No, I mean we are like in a small town. I won't say
Yeah.
which, but yeah, we do.
Has
live
she
in-
like met Englishmen that she's said bad things about then?
Oh,
like,
no, like
She
she
did
just.
that one guy that offered to show her around, and she
Yeah.
was like, "No, thank you."
But-
She went shopping.
But just just when we've gone out shopping and she's looked around and stuff, she was like, Englishmen, Ukrainian are beautiful. Englishmen are
Not so much.
not beautiful.
Yeah.
No.
savage.
Slim
Yeah.
pickings, though.
I was
From where-
like,
slim pickings.
Yeah, see
from
what
where
I'm
to be
up
fair.
against. But I do wonder if it's just like they like a cultural thing, and if they have a different, aesthetic that they prefer.
That and slim pickings.
Because like lately I've been talking to a guy and I think he's pretty handsome. And when
Yeah.
we showed her the picture, she was like,
Yeah.
yes.
She's not impressed.
Oh, and he's a handsome man, so yeah.
That's
I
true.
do wonder if it's cultural.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good,
So,
good
yeah.
for you, Charlotte.
Yes, Charlotte, you like.
You like
maybe.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
And the other thing that was funny, sorry to just relentlessly talk about me. Me. But the other thing
Nothing
that,
new there, guys.
Nothing new, no. Anyway, it's all about me. It all started in 1989.
With me. The birth of
me.
me.
Capital M-E. Me. Everybody me. So the other thing that I have found really funny is that you don't realise, obviously Violet talks Ukrainian now, not like language but accent-wise.
Obviously, Violet's fluent in Ukrainian language.
I mean, Violet's 6,
It's
so
taken
it's
about
very
7 days.
it's very funny to hear a 6-year-old now speak with a Ukrainian accent. But when I was my other friend, who's like I say an English sponsor for a different Ukrainian family, I was messaging her about going over to her house, and I got a text in the morning just to be like, so just checking, are you still coming? And I messaged, I think I said back, yes, we come 12 o'clock. Or yes, we come 12. And I just didn't even realise I'd started typing like that, like in the most basic unit of language. But she just responded with loads of like laughing faces, like, I talk like that now as well. Because you just don't even notice you do it.
Yeah, I noticed Charlie doing it today. So we've come to Gory's house up north.
People don't know you as Gory, do they?
No, they both call me Gory.
Yeah.
Let's just get that long story. It's actually a really short story.
we can come back to that later. But yeah.
So we were getting ready to come up today, and Charlie was making me laugh. So before we leave, obviously she has to explain how things work to Eugenia, and I'm listening to her, and she's talking about the washing machine. She's like, this washing machine, talking about how long it takes to wash stuff. This setting, 60 minutes. This, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes, all in this accent. like she's got to understand it more. She
Yeah.
speaks like this. This powder you put here. Me go.
Yes.
See you tomorrow.
Yes. But you can't help it. It
Yeah.
happened naturally.
Yeah.
And you don't notice.
Yeah.
But she can probably like speak bits of English with like proper grammar and stuff. She's just like,
No.
can she not?
No, it's very basic English.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, enough that we've got by, but like, no, not proper grammar. I like being Charlotta though.
That's great. I like Charlotte.
I think
Charlotte.
from now on, I think you need to refer to me as Charlotta. Charlotta.
Charlotte. So anyway, yeah, it's been going well so far. The Ukrainian refugees.
Yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah, I've been hearing like a few sort of like not so good stories in the news.
Really?
Have you heard anything about that? Like a lot of people have like taken them in and have like wanted to get rid of them. It's really bad because they've been saying things like, oh, we don't get on, like the cultural differences and all this kind of stuff.
It's just so weird to me because it's been so positive.
That's interesting. Also, what newspapers is that? Is that like one just of we're talking like?
Was it the Daily
Daily Mail?
Yeah.
I'll look it up. I don't think it was.
I mean, I think because me and my new wife Eugenia and I had this chat, and I think we had a similar thing where another person that I don't know as well is also a UK sponsor, and she has had a family come over, and so I sent her all these pictures of like the lovely Ukrainian food that my new wife has been making me, and she was like, oh, these guys here are they've not done anything, and it almost seemed a bit like they were taking the mick a bit.
Oh, really?
And
that's interesting.
So, like, and I do not want to talk negatively about this whole process because I think it's a really positive process.
Yeah.
And also, like, obviously, Eugenia was telling me about the horror stories she'd heard, like, when she made the decision to come over.
About
that she had
English sponsors.
About some English sponsors. Imagine,
yeah.
And, like, the where we left it was that there are good and bad people in every culture, in every country, and we just realised I think we felt lucky that we'd found each other.
So me
and my wife.
So for people who might not know, in the UK, if you house a Ukrainian refugee, then you get £350 per month from the government. And so we were saying, weren't we, Charlie, that there will absolutely be people over here who are just abusive, who are just like have people here and take that money and don't care for them at all. Whereas you've been like helping them with paperwork, like trying to help them with learning English. And, you know, but there will be people who are absolutely just trying to claim the money and take the piss, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the government's been really quite vague because when I read the initial, it said that the government will give you £350 a month, and that doesn't matter how many. So it could be a family of one, a family of two, a family of three. Okay. That's the set amount for that room. So yeah, I mean, obviously there'll be some people who are providing box rooms, etc.
So is it like per room? So if you're doing...
I think so. Right. I think so. Like I say, I can only comment really on my experience of it, but my understanding, and from speaking to the council, is that it doesn't matter how many people are in the family. It's that set £350 a month. Now for me, that will probably cover the bills going up, and maybe a little bit more, fractionally probably, and also, you know, the bit of the mortgage, whatever. But it's not a huge amount. But it was enough to let me know that I wouldn't lose money. But the difficulty is when they arrive, the council sends them, so per family, per person, £200 supermarket voucher, so they're entitled to £400 supermarket voucher. Well, they arrived on a Sunday, and I called the council on a Monday to say they've arrived, so they should have emailed through the voucher. Well, as of today, and we're a week ahead now, still no voucher.
That's bad, isn't it?
Thankfully, I had done a GoFundMe to cover their plane tickets, and it had got money in excess of the plane tickets, and I'd been able to give them that in cash. Equally, one of the partners in an old law firm I used to work for, very extremely generously, and you know, I was quite surprised, got in touch and said, I'm going to send over £500. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you mean 50? That's such a lot of money. She was like, no, what you're doing is amazing. This will help you feed them. So, and I was thinking, well, they're going to get the vouchers and then they're going to be able to apply for universal credit. So the vouchers are like a holding position. But actually, we've really relied on that because, so I've put the £200 in her bank account and given her £300 in cash. So that was going to keep her going now until Monday, when I can ring the council and be like, what the hell is going on? And that sounds really simple, like, yeah, just ring the council. But actually, I'm working full time. And yes, I've now got an excellent wife who makes my meals for me. But like, we're applying for bank accounts, we're applying to get them a mobile phone and credit. We're applying.
Do they need a new passport or anything like that? Or?
They need a different visa, so they've got a visa to get them here, and then I think we need to apply for another visa. And we're applying to school. Obviously, I had to do an online application for school, then fill in all the school paperwork, fill in the GP paperwork for them. Then we need to do an application for universal credit, an application for English lessons, an application for child benefit. And that's not all of it, but I mean, so it's a lot.
I mean, yeah, it is a lot. It's amazing that they can claim benefits straight away. Because isn't that the first time that the government's done that? Because like until this, I think if you came over as a refugee or an asylum seeker or whatever, you have to be in the country for 3 months before you can claim benefits. I think this is the first time that they've said.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But how do you exist?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is the first time that they've said people can claim.
I know they've made a lot of waivers, but the reality is, you have to go and set up a bank account before you can claim benefits. They need to go somewhere. So we've had to go and find which banks are actually offering bank accounts to Ukrainian people, and often a lot of them you need a letter from your sponsor and a proof of address. And how do you have a proof of address if you've only just got here? Well, we went to the GP to ask for a proof of address, and they said, yeah, we'll send it through, but they had to register first, up to 5 days. So all of this delay built in, and the reality of actually, you know, vouchers not turned up yet. So what if nowhere did it warn me that yes, they will get their money in the end, but in the interim you will be filling that gap. Which fine, I can do that.
But imagine if you couldn't though.
Imagine if you couldn't. And you know, there will be sponsors who have been put in that position, which may explain some of the horror stories, because the government have not been clear enough. You know, nowhere in reading up on this before I started this process was that made clear, or was that explained.
Do you know how many people have accepted people into their homes?
I don't know. I do know that like about a month ago when the council came out to do the first visit of my house, they said that in my area they'd got about 7 or 8 families. So
really?
And when we went into the bank, because it turned out my bank, HSBC, are one of the only ones that are doing bank accounts for Ukrainian people, and because I was already banking with HSBC, I didn't have to get proof of address for her. I only had to write a letter to say I'm the sponsor, blah blah blah. So that made it a lot easier. But when we spoke to the guy, he said he'd been steadily doing more and more and more applications because people were working out that HSBC offered it, and he said only the day before we'd done 3. So I would suggest that numbers are stepping up, but it's not an enormous amount. I mean, if anyone...
It's quite a big thing though, isn't it? You know, it is quite a big decision to make, to come in to house a family or people that you've never met before. I guess, well, do you know, I was about to say then, I guess, like, for you...
Were you about to say something positive about me?
I mean, I will never go that far.
Yeah.
I was going to say... what I was going to say is that for you, I guess because you've got a woman and a child, that feels safer. But then actually, everyone will have women, because what I learned from you is that Ukrainian men aren't actually allowed to leave.
Not except for very exceptional circumstances. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah,
I know. Is that? I mean, I don't know how I feel about that.
The incel community in the manosphere will be really pissed off about that.
You reckon?
Yeah, like one of their arguments is that men go into the most dangerous jobs, such as the army, or like they become, you know, roofers and stuff like that, and they're the most like deadly jobs. So they're like, you should respect men because men die doing the work to make the things that you use all the time.
I mean, I can sort of see the logic in that, except I would counter it with men start the wars, not women.
Well, yeah.
And also, like, women were kept out of like jobs like that for a long time as well.
Yeah.
It's seen as men's jobs. I'm sure there were many women, if we started off on an equal playing ground, who maybe wanted to do jobs like that.
But I also...
we were kept in houses.
Yeah, and so. I mean, also, who's going to look after the children? Who's going to take all the Ukrainian children and look after them? Are the men going to come over and do that? And leave the women to fight? I think there are some women fighting on the front line in Ukraine.
There are women who've left and turned back around to go and help out.
Yeah, so...
I found like I found the Ukrainian spirit, I guess, for lack of a better word, like incredible, like very impressive, like learning about it on TV, like I was saying, people like, leaving but then hearing what was going on and turning back around to fight, and people being very just like, I'm doing this for my country, like fuck this, like where, you know, whereas like if that was happening here, I would be gone. Like, I'm not fighting for Queen nor country. Bye, I'm saving me.
Is that because Boris is our Prime Minister?
No, it's because I'm not good. I wouldn't like risk my life for my country.
No,
absolutely
true.
not.
Absolutely not. But I mean, it's interesting you raise that. But one of the things, like, so I don't know if you know, but well, you introduced me to this, Corey.
What?
The drama series Chernobyl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so obviously I got obsessed with that because it was fucking incredible.
It was so good.
It was so good.
Have you watched it?
Do you know what it was? I didn't get into it, but I probably will watch it because everyone I speak to says it's brilliant. But what I didn't like was that they didn't have, wasn't it just like English accents, but it was...
Yeah.
Yeah. Not really like off-putting
made like, so I listened to, well, this is what I'm getting to. So I watched it and I was like, this is fascinating, you know, like something that just grips you and stays with you. So I then went on to listen to Chernobyl the podcast, which was I don't know, the director and the editor, something like that, like just talking about the decisions they made, etc. And they talked about the decision to use English speaking people, and I think they just said they didn't want really shit fake accents, or even like they didn't want it to be subtitled, and they didn't want people to be putting on a sort of fake accent. They didn't want that to be the focus. They wanted the story to be the focus. So, and they wanted the people watching it to not be distracted by anything other than the story and the people.
To be honest, when I was watching it, I honestly, like, it is weird when you think about it, but when I was watching it, I actually didn't feel like it was weird the way that they did it.
Did it happen in Ukraine?
Yeah.
So they couldn't find English-speaking Ukrainian actors?
I don't know.
I mean,
well, I think what they said was the actors that they did have to play parts, they didn't get them to put on an accent at all.
Yeah,
they just got people to do their natural accent.
Yeah,
so that it wasn't about
but speaking
that.
in English.
For me, I think I would have liked it better if, say, you know, you don't want to do subtitles, fine, but find Ukrainian actors that speak English, so there's at least an accent there. I just found it so strange that they were like, yes, and the power station's about to blow up, like just like in a standard English, or even like sometimes posh English accent. I found it really strange.
I mean, I do get that, but I also see that, like, I can see their logic, like how an accent would distract. You wanted to like live this with the people, and the you know, if it's in an accent that feels like normal to you.
I mean, that's kind of like very like, I don't know, like Eurocentric, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, yeah. I mean, like these people.
Well, I mean,
based in Ukraine, so like.
Oh yeah, but it's not.
Say, like,
it's not
like,
being made for people in Ukraine. It was made for people in Europe.
Yeah.
To
so
watch.
what? So people in England can't listen to an accent that's not English.
I think that, I mean, the way they explained it was that a lot of those type of accents, the risk was it would just start sounding like people putting on.
Yeah. So this is the thing. What I'm saying is, if it was a put on, fair.
Yeah.
But I think they should have got Ukrainian actors that could speak English.
But I actually thought the actors in it were absolutely brilliant.
They were so good.
Yeah, I loved the choices. I can't remember what the guy was who was the scientist, the expert, but I thought he was especially brilliant.
Yeah, he's a pretty big actor though. That guy,
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but
and the MP that he worked alongside, or the lady. No.
Oh,
the politician guy that he worked alongside.
Oh, yeah.
They did like develop a respect for each other over time. I thought that was like,
there was a lady scientist as well.
Yeah, and they said that her character was almost like a
lady scientist.
Lady scientist.
So they said that the guy was one real person, but that her character was a composite, basically, to reflect the scientists and the experts, because they couldn't.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
They couldn't. Yeah. So she wasn't a real person, but she was the reflection of. That role, those people doing that job.
It is very sort of reminiscent of like how people respond to scientists in response to like COVID and climate change, just like everything, where the scientists are like screaming at politicians like, please do something. and it happens every single
I
time.
guess that's a really interesting, because that never occurred to me. Because I mean, straight away I'm like, well, Soviet Union, all lies, blah blah blah. But actually,
we are just as bad. Everything else is just as bad as the Soviet Union.
Yeah. Well, in different ways, perhaps.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, the reason I raise it is because on this movie. So yeah, not only did I listen to the podcast, which I thought was very interesting, I would recommend. They recommended a book that also had stories.
Yeah.
Which was like really, really interesting and really funny. So I forced my very arty cultural friend who's a vegan to go to Benidorm on holiday with me. Which was great. They actually have vegan ice cream and like a vegan restaurant in Benidorm. If that doesn't tell you time is changing. But anyway, so yeah, I sat on the beach in Benidorm reading this book about Chernobyl. I think I was the only person. Most people were on like footballers' autobiographies and stuff, and I take a book about
Coles.
Yeah. I think I'm the only guy that would take a book about like a Chernobyl on holiday. But anyway, to Benidorm. But it was really interesting. But one of the things that came like from the book and came from the podcast was the difference in culture of people in the Soviet Union compared to people here. Like you say, we'd be like, fuck that, I'm not fucking doing it.
We're very individualistic.
And also, we've got like the law of tort. So we've got like this, we've got a duty of care to people. When that's breached, there's negligence claims, etc. There's that sort of culture. There's that law that behind our country. Whereas there is no such thing. So one of the things was just this the way they reacted to it in real life and how that's reflected in the drama series. It was really interesting because they were saying, had it been a different culture, because I mean they were getting volunteers to go under into the water, weren't they? Under the building to try and turn the water off.
Chernobyl?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were getting people to go on missions whereby there was a very strong chance they were gonna die.
Yeah.
And they volunteered. They were getting this group of miners. Was it miners? Yeah, I think it was miners.
Can't remember.
Miners as in young people or miners as in like actual miners?
No, miners, like mining.
Yeah.
To like mine. Mining. That one, mining. To like go under the building, to like mine a big tunnel under, again knowing that they were going to be exposing themselves to this radiation, but doing it not because they were going to get some sort of huge payoff, but there was just this culture of we do this for our country. And that's, they were saying if it had happened anywhere else, would there have been that response? So I thought that was really
They'd probably just use a robot now, to be fair.
I mean, all right.
Don't need to anymore.
They'll probably just use a drone. Can we move on? But I mean, like, I just thought that was really interesting. Like, that the whole mentality was very much not about the individual, but about the state.
Isn't that the same in China as well?
Don't know.
I think so. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, in the West we're very.
Yeah.
It's very individualistic.
Yeah.
You do what you want for yourself.
Well, since we had freaking Maggie Thatcher, that's all it's been. Everyone for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Naomi were talking about that on the way here, weren't we?
About what?
Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, were you?
What were we saying about her?
I think I was saying what an excellent judge of character she is, because she was like really pally-pally with Jimmy Savile. Thought he was an excellent example.
Did you watch the Netflix documentary about Jimmy Savile?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I found it really interesting when they pointed out, like, because he was so, like, he did so much stuff for charity, and like she loved him so much because he was basically like the sort of poster child for, we let rich people donate to charity instead of putting taxes towards like these causes. Like, he was building hospitals and stuff with all of his charity.
And then he was abusing the kids within.
Yeah, she didn't know. She couldn't. I mean, didn't.
Yeah, but
it was a screen.
Yeah, but she basically loved him so much because he was perpetuating this whole idea of, we don't need taxes to do this because look, Jimmy's doing this, and so are all of the other like millionaires.
I thought that she was perpetuating the idea that actually, because he was from like working class roots. Look at this man. I've seen a video.
It's probably that as well.
Yeah, because I've seen a video of her being like, what a fine example of British eccentricity. And also, I think that she liked the fact that he showed that actually you can work your way up and you can come from nothing.
Yeah.
If you are a manipulative paedophile.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hate that whole meritocracy debate.
Oh, it's bullshit. don't even get me started on that one. What a crock of shit.
And it is true, like for some people, yes, you can work your way up, but it should not be a rule that we apply to all.
It's certainly not a rule that can be applied.
Even though we've all got the same 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. Oh, don't even get me started.
What did Kim say?
Where are your trousers from, Naomi?
I just feel like people don't want to work.
Nobody wants to
anymore.
work these days. That's so true.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best clip ever.
Yeah.
Get off your ass and work.
Get off your ass and work.
Do you know, Catherine Ryan is such a lover of Kim Kardashian and the Kardashian clan.
Oh yeah, she
Straight
is.
away, it really surprises me because I like everything else that she says. By
Yeah,
and large.
but she's like also so into the whole celebrity culture, like vapid sort of brain dead kind of stuff.
She, like,
I feel like she really likes them for some reason.
I mean, I've never got that sense from anything else that she's ever said, other than what she says about the Kardashians. But yeah, she was saying, well, Kim wasn't sending that message out to the public at large. And I was thinking, well, I mean, it was on an open forum, and she knows how far her message will get. You should clarify. Do you know what I mean? Like, people who come from rich families
was it businesswomen?
I think she was saying,
they asked her, what would you say to all business women wanting to make it in business?
Yeah.
And that was her answer. Like, you can't really defend that.
No, Catherine Ryan sure did try, and I'm thinking, I mean, everybody has their but yeah.
Thoughts on Kim?
Not for me.
Not for me.
Yeah, it's just so at odds with. But do you know what? We all have our guilty pleasures. My mum used to watch like Katie Price programs and be like, "I'm just watching it because it's interesting for the insight."
But I actually do think that though. I think like it's easy to dismiss reality TV, but I think at the end of the day, it's people watching, and I think it can be really interesting.
But like,
I really enjoy a lot of reality TV.
But you can say that you enjoy a bit of trash TV and not have to put like a faux intellectual cover on it.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, it's easy to just say, "Oh, well, it's just vapid," but I don't agree with that. I think it is like you are analysing people as well.
But are you really analysing people when it's so edited to be like to make it as dramatic as possible?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, you might not be analysing, the actual reality, but you're still analysing like the dynamics between the families, and I think that's why the Kardashians and say like the Osmonds, what's it called?
Osborns.
The Osmonds.
Johnny Osmond.
That's why they've had so many series, because they were interesting to watch.
Yeah, I get that.
If it was just like, completely vapid and you're actually saying nothing, then it wouldn't have been so successful. I'm hungry.
Well,
we should probably stop in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Because then it'll be 5:30 and we'll have to get ready and go.
Get lunch.
Get lunch.
God no, man.
Get my pre-tea.
For some person.
We've like barely got through anything we planned to. We don't have to do everything though.
Okay,
but what else were we going to do? We were going to talk about... We could talk a bit about Johnny Depp and...
we can ease into that, talking about celebrity culture.
Maybe we should just maybe we should just go into incels.
Ow. Well...
Isn't it easier to move from, like, Kardashians to... Like, and also reality TV to talk about,
Okay. Yeah, we could start with, speaking of things being edited and not always seeing the reality of situations.
Exactly.
You do that, Gloria, and then cut out, and you can start with that.
Okay. Speaking of things being edited and the public not always seeing the reality.
Like this podcast.
A bit like this podcast, which
like
I'm not going to edit any. I'm not going to edit any of this out. It's just all going to be in.
Yeah.
This is where you get the real shit, guys. The raw. You're raw dogging right now.
I mean, you're kind of tangenting right now. Your segue has got a lot of tangents.
Yeah. But the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial.
Why are you saying it like an old man?
I'm about to tell my opinion to the children that
What is this wagging?
You don't know everything. You think you know everything, but you don't know everything about that trial, bitches.
It's a very commanding way of putting it. I suspect people are going to really take that on board.
But yeah, it's true. It seems like everybody thinks they know everything about this trial when they're not sat in the fucking courtroom. Well, they're live streaming.
Sat in their relationship, never mind the courtroom.
Well, they are live streaming the entire thing, to be fair. So people think that they know everything, but they fucking don't. For a start, Johnny Depp is way more rich than Amber Heard and can probably afford way better representation than her.
But also, to me, it's just becoming a total and utter popularity contest.
Yeah, but also he can afford better PR than her.
Yeah.
And everyone's on his side because
he's popular. People like Johnny Depp.
People love Johnny Depp, and he's like been in very classic, Tim Burton films and Pirates of the Caribbean. Blah 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 blah. But on top of that, the manosphere have jumped on it, and I read something that
do we need to explain what the manosphere is, or do we just
It's it's incels. There's other groups there's pickup artists are included.
Yeah.
And then there's another group called Men Going Their Own Way, which is basically
you can go your
own way, your own way, which means that basically these men hate women so much that they don't want to live under a government which is so feminist. So they don't want to work with women. They don't want to date them.
This government is so feminist.
Yeah, they think that society's got way too feminist.
Yeah.
So they're going their own way. They don't date women. They don't want to participate in a society that's feminist.
It's so selective then.
Sound like they're in the closet.
So it actually but bearing in mind that we're actually in 2022 debating whether women should be able to choose whether to have abortions or not, and these men are government's too feminist.
they also love the fact that they banned abortion. Well, 50% banned it in America because their theory is that women want all power over sex and all power over reproduction. So they lie about being R-worded. You're not meant to say the word rape on YouTube.
You can't say that word on YouTube.
Not really, no. I mean, you can, but it might.
Why?
I don't know. It's just complicated rules about monetization, but we're not going to try and monetize this one yet, anyway. Okay. But so people say for the word rape, people say R word, and for sexual assault, people say SA. So R and SA.
It's ridiculous.
It's what you have to do online. But basically, they'll say that women lie about being odd because they want power over women, over men, and they want to take their money. And one of the arguments that I make in my video is
get raped, get that cash, baby.
Well, they say that they lie about it because they want men's money, and there's this whole sort of conspiracy to sue men over being R-worded and lying about it so that they get their money. And I'm like, what fucking what single fucking accusation has resulted that you know of that has resulted in a big payout to a woman?
Even though in the UK as well, most R cases don't even go to trial.
Exactly. Yeah, I talk about all of that as well.
We're trying to get that cash.
Yeah,
baby.
we just want that cash. And they say that abortion's a good thing because, taking away the right to have an abortion is a good thing because that is just another thing that gives them power over reproduction.
Imagine having power over your own body. That's so,
sounds outrageous to me.
So
yeah.
So it gets insane. It's I cover it all in my video when it comes out, but it's mad.
Yeah, I mean, can I just point something out here? Yeah, because I remember my mum and her husband sitting at the dinner table with me once, saying to me, "We watched this documentary. It was about this man who was falsely accused of rape, and it's just awful and blah blah blah." And I was like, I'm sure it was awful in his case, but let's look at it from like a public policy perspective.
Yeah. The statistics say the opposite.
Well, yes, exactly. I'm sure it was awful in his case, but actually it's not going to compare to the vast majority of rape victims who are women who don't have a voice.
They don't even want to tell their best friends, like, never mind the fucking police.
But let's just be clear as well, like, the system is not set up for the victims. So in law, in criminal law, you have to prove something beyond a reasonable doubt. And how are you going to do that in a rape situation?
You can't do it.
And this is possibly my main issue with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, because what people are starting to say now is that because people think that she's lying, people think that she's hijacking. Oh, this is what Johnny Depp's lawyer said. I think that she's hijacking the Me Too movement, or that it's like Me Too. It's like Me Too without the actual Me Too.
Yeah.
And so, like, what people say now is that it's going to sully the whole Me Too movement, and it makes me so angry because even if, even hypothetically, let's say that she is lying. What about the hundreds of thousands of women who are not lying? What about the hundreds of women who have already been killed in the UK alone by their male partners or men that they know?
Yeah.
You know, so to say that this is going to sully the whole movement is so misogynistic.
It's so
because
disgusting,
people don't want to believe women, and this gives people a reason to not believe women.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting. It makes me so angry.
So regardless of the facts of this case and, you know, making a decision on it, and I'll come back to that in a second, but regardless of whether she's lying or not, the public's reaction to this is going to be detrimental to women feeling like they can come forward in a system where there really is no benefit to coming forward anyway. I mean, you come forward half the time.
Which is traumatic in itself.
It's traumatic. It's utterly traumatic. You go to the police, even if it gets to trial, which rarely it ever does. How are you going to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? The system is not set up in your favour. How do you prove that you didn't consent to it? Other than that you were so intoxicated that it was impossible for you to consent.
In which case, it's your fault. Because you shouldn't have been that drunk.
Well,
with a boy.
Well, yeah, and I think
you were asking for it.
I think the police are starting to move forward on that a bit. But I mean, and then you've got to go to trial, you've got to be cross-examined by a barrister, all of your history dragged up, everything also, like that.
Like, can I just say as well, something that people seem to be forgetting, Johnny Depp was charged for abusing her previously. So, so this is a thing that people seem to have completely forgotten with this trial. So The Sun wrote an article and called Johnny Depp a wife beater.
Yep.
Johnny then tried to sue The Sun.
Yep.
But then a court found, actually
Johnny, he did.
Of 14 accounts of abuse, you were found guilty of 12.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't sue them because they were right.
And then
everyone's like, Amber's a liar.
Yeah.
He's been charged with abuse.
But then all she did in that op-ed that he's suing her over now, all she did was write this half sentence about him that she said, I became a sort of public figure of domestic abuse. And that's literally all she said in this article that even pertained to what happened to her. She didn't, I don't think she even said his name.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he came at her with all of his lawyers.
Yeah.
And now the whole argument they're literally doing now is, she got beaten up, but can she talk about it?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And people are all on his side.
Yeah. Guys, he's been charged with abuse.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah.
The fuck?
This is what pisses me off the most, because obviously I work in the judicial system, not American, but I mean, that's what was fucking me off. Before this even became this big, I had somebody, I didn't know that one on Facebook, who was pro Johnny Depp, talking about all this stuff, and I was like, findings have been made in our criminal court system or our civil court system. Sorry, I think it was in divorce proceedings, wasn't it? So a finding has been made. So if you want to deny that, then you essentially are denying our entire judicial system. So yes, findings have been made. And then it just reminds me so much. I think I was saying this to you the other day, Naomi, that obviously I work in cases, not the same, family law, like between parents, or I did in the past anyway. And like, it just reminded me of this guy who was a dad who made a post on social media. And I like, the mum who I was representing came in to show me this post, and it was like, mums who do not allow their dads to see their children are blah, 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 blah. And just everybody jumping on the bandwagon. Like, I was looking on the comments section, like, they were all like saying, yeah, blah, 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 it's disgusting, yeah, we're behind you, mate, blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, I mean, obviously I knew this case inside out. And I knew all the things he'd done. I knew, you know, like, so let me give you some examples. So, like, setting her bin on fire, taking lots of drugs and stealing the child and going to another property and saying she can't have him back unless they get back together. So she had to pretend to get back together with him to get the child to go out. You know, savvy move on her part, because if it had gone through the court system, she'd be waiting a fucking while. That he was, like, you know, abusive to her, shouted at her, kept doing creepy things like turning up, cutting her pipes, taking her tyres down, leaving a dozen red roses on her car for when she turned up. But even after all that, we agreed to a contact order that he would have supervised contact with his child every other weekend for a couple of hours, supervised by his parents, which everybody agreed to and was in a legally binding order. So she goes and drops him off for contact one weekend, only to sit and be waiting for contact to happen. She sat in town and sees him walking by with the kid in a pushchair. No supervision, so he's in breach of a court order. So breach, you know, all these safeguarding concerns that haven't been properly investigated. He refused to sign up, or refused to have any drug testing to confirm that he wasn't still taking tons of drugs. And I mean, the history was very concerning in respect of that. So he refused to engage in any safeguarding assessment. He was belligerent to everybody at court and to all the professionals involved, and then breached a legally binding order after all of this creepy behaviour towards her. The fact that he just abducted the child in the first place, wouldn't let her see him unless she agreed to get back together.
God, how awful.
And then he goes and makes this post on social media, and I'm thinking, I think you missed a bit out there. You've not really told the whole story. But everybody who read that post was jumping on the back. Yeah, it's disgusting. You're right. I know her. Blah blah blah. Like, you know, people, mutual acquaintances, and I'm thinking, you haven't got a fucking clue, mate.
Yeah.
Trial by media.
And people always jump to the conclusion that a woman is being manipulative. Like, I saw that happen with, like, when I looked into the whole Meghan Markle thing. I was so insanely shocked at how people were so willing to jump onto her every move, like it was some sort of like calculated thing. It's like,
as if these men are just like, just like under the spell of these women, like they can't think of themselves, and we've just got this pussy power. So, you know.
It's insane. Like,
even aside from like the whole man-woman thing, the thing that really irks me is that people are so willing to have these firm, solid opinions about things when there's no way that they have the information or have done the preliminary research, even like basic research, to even be able to form any kind of informed position on something.
People have really made their minds up about Johnny and Amber. Wow, people are on his side, like fully 100%.
But there's even there's huge like media outlets in America, like this one called the Daily Wire that's run by Ben Shapiro. Do you know who Ben Shapiro is?
I've heard of Ben Shapiro. I don't know much about him. Isn't he the sibling of someone famous?
His sister's called Abigail, but I think she's a bit less famous than him.
Oh, okay.
He's very right wing though, isn't he?
Yeah, extremely. But he owns this media outlet called the Daily Wire, and they ran ads. They spent thousands and thousands on Facebook with these articles that people had written about the trial that were like really, really anti Amber Heard, because it's like it's in the right wing's interest to just like push back feminism as much as possible, so they're just jumping on this trial to try and do that, and people are just like literally lapping it up. They fucking love it.
Do you think it will have a Do you think that this case is powerful enough, big enough to have a detrimental effect on feminism?
I think it will a bit, yeah.
Do you think the only people that it will truly be fueling in a negative way will be people who are misogynistic anyway.
No.
It makes
Really?
people more misogynistic.
I think there's people.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's people like us who are very one way, and I think there are people like who are very much the other way. And I think it's catching the in-betweeners.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
It amazes me sometimes the type of people that will buy into this shit.
they know how to recruit people. The right know how to recruit people, and they do it so well. And it's because their messages are always so simple. Like the people on the left are like, oh no, but it's nuanced. But on the right, you know, a message like all women are evil manipulators, like it works so well.
Just for like the sake of like conversation, do you think that the phrase "believe women"? Do you think that's too simple as well? We need to rethink.
Well, I looked into like the rates of false accusations, because that's basically what it's getting down to, isn't it? It's like if a woman makes an accusation, you should believe her.
Yeah.
But of course, there is always going to be that chance that she's lying. And
Yes.
don't shriek.
Just saw that fucking wasp fly again. I was like, I'm gonna fuck you up, son.
But no, I
You up
looked.
first.
But basically, their argument is you could never know when a woman's actually lying, because you don't know until like first of all the assault has been reported to the police, and then there has to be an investigation, and there's so little amounts of those accusations that go to investigation anyway, that it's like so impossible to like really get a good statistic of how many of these are false. But they have ways of knowing. So because they can like sense patterns out of like which ones they've learnt were lies and which ones are true, they can make a really good estimation of like which ones are false. So you can look at the woman's history, not her sexual history, but a history of whether she's lied to the police in the past, or whether she's like tried to defraud insurance companies with false claims before and things like that.
Right.
There's always a past of them trying to game the system for their personal gain. There's always that. And then the other type of really common false accuser is a young person who has been caught having sex and they've told their parents they were raping me. That's often a lie, and they know that's often a lie, because what will happen in those cases is the parent will insist on going to the police even though the kid doesn't want to, and the parent will do it on behalf of the kid most of the time, and then when they make the kid like explain what happened, they'll just be like, oh, I don't know, and they'll make up some shit that's like obviously made up, and like that's so like they have ways of knowing that people are lying. So that's how they get they reckon it's between 2 to 10% of rape accusations are false. So that's how they make that.
It could be that high, up to 10%.
Yeah, but the
Is that just in the UK?
No, I think that's across the UK and the US.
Okay.
But yeah, it can be that high. But the thing is, because it's so easy to tell the ones that are lies, it's like those ones, most of the time the accused male doesn't even know that they've been accused. They just throw it out so quickly, like this isn't true. And I've forgotten the exact numbers, but the amount of people like exonerated from jail for rape is like way lower than the people exonerated for murder. Like way more people are exonerated for murder than they are for rape. Like it's just such a small thing. It's like but the manosphere is so obsessed with it. Like they think it's this really bad problem. But it's such a small thing that and they already know how to deal with it. So
I mean, I couldn't, because obviously I used to volunteer with victim support, so I used to work with victims of crime, and so I did some like set training on victims of sexual abuse. And I can remember, so there was a couple of things. Now, I don't remember exactly where they got the statistics from, but they did mention statistics about...
we'll stop after this, by the way. Carry on.
They did mention statistics about whether... About you know, false allegations, and the view was that it was very small in comparison. But also, what I think that's very difficult to quantify.
It is, yeah.
But what isn't difficult to quantify is if you are a victim of domestic abuse and they got us to sit with this giant piece of paper with a line down the middle, pros and cons of reporting it. Cons, going for a rape investigation. Having to retell it over and over again. Not being believed by the police. Having to wait. Court proceedings, how long do they drag on? How can you just like psychologically can't get past something because how long you've got to wait for these proceedings? Having to submit a statement, having to keep going through it, having to be cross-examined by a professional barrister, having your past dragged up, having negative things raised about you. I mean, I can't remember all of it, but the cons were just massively outweighed the pros.
I remember this particular story as well of this. I think she was like maybe like 14, 15 or 16. She got raped and she had to go to the police and the whole thing went to court. And in court, they used a pair of the pair of like this thong that she was wearing as evidence, and they held it up.
Yeah.
And like the thong said on it, one of those really cringy things you get from like, it's
not gonna look itself.
No, like her
We're
thong.
laughing because nobody has
From Huddersfield Market.
But no, like it's her thong, like it said something on it like "sexy devil" or something like that.
Yeah.
And they held that up in court as evidence that she was some sort of like floozy that was, and like she was trying. Like, how fucking traumatizing would that be? It's like a teenage girl.
Well, at victim support in the training, one of the videos we saw was this woman who had been through the court process, and he had been found guilty. Now, this is obviously very rare statistically, but she said that her barrister, because when it happened, she was walking through a field and she was attacked. And obviously he had said it was consensual and whatever, so yeah, this is one of the rare occasions where he was found guilty, but her own barrister, arguing her case, had held up her walking boots and said, does this look like a woman who was going out for sex?
Yeah.
And she was saying, what if I did pick different shoes? How are they going to portray me?
So,
do you know what I mean?
So true,
So even for her, even though she won, she's thinking, is this what it comes down to?
The whole, but what were you wearing?
Yeah.
What were you wearing now?
I know.
Yeah, that's so true, yeah.
We're running out of time. We're going to have to pick this up later.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things I want to talk about. Grab my balls.
Bye, guys. Bye.
That wasn't really a soft opening, was it? That was more like, boom, opinion. Yeah.
Not soft at all. Hard as fuck.
My openings are not soft.
Bye.